Hey, what's up YouTube? Luso here, Team D Plus Gaming, and I've got a special deck profile today going to be given to you by the Cryomancer. So you guys had asked a while back for a zombie deck profile, and I have to say my zombie skills aren't quite up to par, so we called in the experts for you, and I'll let him take it away from here.
This kid flatters me by calling me an expert. I just like playing zombies. I've been playing them for a while now. And I'm actually really excited because in a couple months here we're going to be getting a new set, Shadow Specters. So we're going to be getting some new vampire and zombie support. And that'll be really exciting, but for right now, I wanted to show off my current zombie deck. Now, zombies aren't seeing a whole lot of competitive play right now, but I think they're a really fun deck to play. I could keep up usually with a couple decks that we've got going on the team here, so I figure I'll just jump right in. Now this deck, and zombies in general, I find, are really good at spamming XYZs, especially rank 4s. So I'm going to show you how we do it. So right off the bat, we run 3 copies of Zombie Master. This guy's your playmaker. You can discard any monster from your hand, special summon a zombie monster from your graveyard or your opponent's graveyard. So it's really good. If you have another legitimate target in your graveyard, you can pitch a card and special summon that exact same card right again. So it's really good to swarm your field. Gets things out really fast. Next, your XYZ playmaker is your blue-blooded Oni. This guy's effect is that when you control a face-up XYZ monster, you can detach a material from that card to special summon a zombie monster level 4 from your graveyard. So he's really cool actually, and he's one of the cards that makes the loop really, really good. So you can get a whole lot of rank 4s really quickly. So those guys there are your primary zombie loop, but we'll get into some other cards that really help out with those. I run 1 copy of Mizuki. I'd run 2 if I could, but it's just a fantastic card. You banish it from your graveyard to special summon any zombie from your graveyard. And because a lot of your zombies are going to get put in the graveyard by a Zombie Master, you've got a really wide range of things you can summon with Mizuki, so he's just a fantastic card. Next, because sometimes you just need that extra beat power, I run 2 copies of Endless Decay. Soon as this guy hits the field, his attack becomes half your opponent's life points. So if you can get him out early enough, he becomes a 4,000 beater for you. So he's just a really good card to play as well. Then, my favorite tuner in the game, you got Plague Spreader Zombie. His effect is pretty cool. You can put a card from your hand back on top of your deck to special summon him out of the graveyard. So if you want to, you can sink 6 and then sink 8. You can sink 5 and then 7. So you got a whole lot of cards you can really make happen with Plague Spreader. Really good tuner. Then 1 Spirit Reaper, because Spirit Reaper is a wall. Your opponent kind of has to waste some resources to get over him, so it's a pretty good card. Good for stalling, kind of setting up your opponent, or setting up your own hand and field, just getting your graveyard set up. Just a good card to slow down the game a bit. And then, because all these zombies have less than 2,000 defense, put them all on the field whenever you want them using your Pyramid Turtle. It's one of the best searchers on the field. Whenever he's destroyed by battle and sent to the graveyard, you can special summon any one of these zombies from your deck to your field. So it's really cool. If you set up, or if you have your hand set up pretty well, you just want something on the field, you can immediately go into your Endless Decay. You can bring out a blue-blooded Oni or a Zombie Master if you're ready to go into the loop. You can bring out a Spirit Reaper if you just want to protect your life points for a bit. If you've got something else on the field, you can bring out a Plague Spreader and make a sync with it. So it's a really good card to have. Then another card for search power to bring things specifically to your hand. I run 3 copies of Goblin Zombie. When this card is destroyed, just leaves the field, you can search a zombie with 1,200 or less defense from your deck to your hand. So that'll fetch your Mizuki, your Spirit Reaper, Endless Decay, Plague Spreader Zombie, Zombie Master. Like, you can fetch almost your entire deck using this guy. And even you can bring out more of him. So he's just really good to have. And that rounds it out for the zombie part of the deck. Some other cards I run are 2 copies of Tour Guide from the Underworld. This card really breaks out your rank 3 XYZs. I only run a couple of them because I need specific support for this deck, but it's a good card to play. Go into your Zen Mains, your Levier, just some pretty safe plays, so it's a good card to have. And then next, 2 copies of Trigodia. This is my only hand trap in the deck because it has a really good potential to save you. As you're waiting to set up, so you want to swarm onto the field, you're going to have a lot of cards in your hand. So you're usually going to have enough cards to make his defense and attack pretty bulky. So you can sit on him and wait for a while until you get set up and you're pretty well defended. But the cool thing about him is he has 2 really good effects which work really well with making rank 4s. So what you can do, if you're going up against an opponent who also happens to run some rank 4s, or level 4s, you can just pitch a card, and take control of a card of the same level by his first effect. So you can grab hold of a level 4. And then now, because you've got some kind of like pseudo-free graveyard setup, you can target a level 4 in your graveyard and make him a level 4. So instantly you've got 2 level 4s on the field, and you can go into a rank 4 really easy that way. So I like running Trigodia because I really like running those rank 4s. And that actually rounds it out for the monsters. Getting into the spells, I run 2 copies of the field spell Zombie World. This card is really good. It makes the entire field and both players' graveyard zombie monsters. So if your opponent has any cards that specifically require a type, then usually their plays are kind of shut down or slowed down a bit because all the monsters on the field are treated as zombies. If you're going up against elemental dragons, they can't banish dragons from their graveyard anymore because their graveyard is treated as zombies. If you're going up against like prophecies or spellbook cards, whatever, they usually require a spellcaster on the field in order to get their spell effects. So if you have this card up and their field treated as zombies, then they can't activate some of their spells. So they're going to have to waste an MST on your field spell instead of one of your back row cards. So I like it. It's a good card. It also supports a couple of these plays you've heard before with Zombie Master, where you can summon a zombie monster out of your opponent's graveyard if it's level 4 or below. So if you happen to kill like a little problem card, or you just want to get a level 4 out of your opponent's graveyard, you can do that with Zombie World. So it's a good card to play. Then I run 3 copies of Book of Life. This card is a Monster Reborn for your zombie monsters, but it also has a DD Crow effect, so you can banish one of your opponent's monsters from their graveyard when you special summon one of yours. So if you happen to be going up against like a Dark Worlds or something like that, they throw their graph on the graveyard, you can just banish the guy and bring out a Decay or something else you've got in the graveyard. So it's a pretty useful card to have. Then get some staples. 1 Monster Reborn, 1 Dark Hole, 2 copies of Mystical Space Typhoon, and then a Foolish Burial for your Mizuki, or if you have a Mizuki in the hand or in the graveyard already, you can bring out a Blue-Blooded Oni to put them in the graveyard so you can set up for your loot. Getting into the traps, as you can see, I already like running a whole lot of graveyard support because zombies put a lot of things in the grave pretty quickly. So I run 3 copies of Call of the Haunted. I've never felt like this is a bad card to have in the back row. If your opponent decides to blind MST or something like that, you can chain it, and then if you have a Goblin Zombie in your graveyard, just special summon the thing from the grave. When MST destroys Call of the Haunted, your Goblin Zombie is going to leave the field again, so another immediate free search, so it's just a good card to have. If your opponent decides to go crazy, if you go up against Hyrat or something like that, there's a whole lot of decks that just get stopped by Torrential Tribute. So I run 2 copies of those. And then because of all the graveyard support, zombies don't really care if they're dead. They just come back anyway, so that's fine. Then I run 2 copies of Mirror Force. So if your opponent declares an attack, you destroy all attack position monsters, which is good to defend yourself. And then finally, 2 copies of Trap Stun. It's kind of a techie card for me. I just like running the card. It's like if you have your hand in your graveyard set up, you know you want to explode onto the field. Start off your turn by flipping over a Trap Stun. Your opponent can't activate their Torrential Tributes, their Dark Bribes, their Solemn Judgments, their whatever else. And if they do choose to stop this card, then that's fine. You can just go off again next turn. So it's a way to defend yourself from their traps if you want to explode onto the field, and if they choose to stop it, then you know, hey, I can just play it safe next turn and go off again. So it's really good. Usually if they stop traps on us because they've got a bottomless or something like that, they want to be able to stop what you've got going for you. So good cards to have. Next, to go into the extra deck, because I run a Plague Spreader Zombie and most of my deck is level 4, I run 2 copies of Doomkaiser Dragon. When Doomkaiser Dragon is special summoned, he can grab a zombie monster from your opponent's graveyard. So what's really cool is if you have Zombie World on the field, your entire opponent's graveyard becomes zombie monsters. So if you kill something with Torrential Tribute, you can fetch it back by making it quick Doomkaiser. Then, because Plague Spreader has that really cool effect to special summon itself out of the graveyard, if you use it to make a Doomkaiser, you can upgrade your Doomkaiser to any level 8. So I like running Crimson Blader. It has a really good effect that slows down a whole lot of decks out there. So if your opponent can't normal or special summon anything level 5 or higher, then there's not a whole lot they can do but sit there and take a couple hits for a turn until they can go off again. So it's a really good card to, again, kind of slow down the game. And then into the Exceed monsters, I've got 1 Wind Up Zen Mains as a potential tour guide target. Always a good defensive play. First turn Zen Mains is never a bad idea. But the card I find myself going into most often is your Leviair the Sea Dragon. When you're making plays with your Plague Spreader and your Mizuki, you're going to be banishing those cards relatively often. So if you want, you can just use your tour guides to go into Levier and bring them right back again. Never a bad idea. And if you want to, you can even Torrential Tribute your own field to put them right back in the grave again if you can't use them just yet. It's just a way to save them from being banished. Another kind of cool card, if you want to put the deck at 41 or something like that, it's just a little bit bigger, you can side in a Burial from the Different Dimension, just a way to cycle them back again. But I like Levier because he puts them back on the field. So if I just need one more level 4 monster to make a really big XYZ play, then you can just Levier to bring it back. But like I said at the beginning of this video, this deck really spams rank 4s, as you can see by all the level 4 monsters we got going. So into the rank 4s, I run one copy of Abyss Dweller. It's a really good card, shut off your opponent's effects in the graveyard. It's good. Then one Lavolval Chain. You can run more of them if you want to, but I like having more like kind of techie cards within my rank 4s. But he's a really easy way to set up your graveyard. He's got a Foolish Burial effect put right in. But then also he can put a card on top of your deck, so you can guarantee your next draw to be something that you need for your loop. So it's a good card to play. Then the kind of flip effect monster duo, you've got one copy of Maestro, and one copy of Photon, Pappy. Just a good card to have. But now, I'm getting into the kind of core of the loop here, what you'd use with your Zombie Master and your Blue-Blooded Oni. I run 3 copies of Gem Knight Pearl. Now, when you think about Blue-Blooded Oni's effect, you have to detach a material from an XYZ monster you control, and every other monster that you have has some kind of effect. So if you detach one of its materials, you're giving up one of its effect. Not so with Gem Knight Pearl. Gem Knight Pearl is the big old beater, and if you detach one of its materials, you don't care, because it doesn't have an effect anyway. It's a really good card, and it's an enabler for the rest of the loop. And then, because it's really easy to get a whole lot of level 4s in the field at the same time, I run one copy of Shockmaster, because that Shocklock, real good. And then, a recent card I added was a Vylon Disigma. This card is kind of like a smaller version of Big Eye. You can kind of equip one of your opponent's monsters to it. And then it also gains a pseudo-Catastor effect. If you attack another monster of the same attribute, you can destroy it by effect before battle. So it's really good card. Helps you get rid of those problem things you can't get rid of with the rest of your stuff. And then my last card, because occasionally you will have 2 Endless Decay on the field, I run one copy of Volcasaurus. If you get both Endless Decay out late game, or you get one of them out late game, it's going to have really, really low attack. So rather than sit there and get smacked by something with bigger attack than your like maybe 1500 attack Endless Decay, just go into Volcasaurus. It's a guaranteed 25. But its effect is also pretty good. So that's the deck profile. Now I want to show you the reason that the loop is really good, or at least how to play it. So the only cards you need for the loop, absolutely need in the hand, are going to be 2 copies of Blue-Blooded Oni and 1 copy of Zombie Master. These 3 guys are in your hand, you can go pretty well crazy on the field. And then just kind of like icing on the cake is if you have 1 more copy of Zombie Master, or if you have your Mizuki in the graveyard with like a Pyramid Turtle or something like that, just other cards in the graveyard. Because for Zombie Master's effect, you do need another legitimate target in the graveyard to make the effect happen. So, to show you how the loop works, we're going to assume you've got these cards in the hand, and say hypothetically, in your opponent's first turn, they attack into your Pyramid Turtle. So it goes to the grave, there's your first legitimate target, and you special summon a Zombie Master off the effect of a Pyramid Turtle. If you've already used something like a Foolish Burial to put your Mizuki in the grave, that's really nice and handy, but you don't need it. It's just something that's kind of good to have also. So what you would do is, first thing, Zombie Master effect, pitch a Zombie Master to summon a Zombie Master. Or if you don't have a Zombie Master on the field, you just have a Pyramid Turtle or something like that, just go ahead and normal Zombie Master. As long as you've got one of these guys on the field, it's a good way to start out. So then if you use your Zombie Master effect, I'm going to turn this card around to show that I've used its effect already. You can use your second Zombie Master effect, pitch a Blue-Blooded Oni, summon a Blue-Blooded Oni. So now these two have both used their effects. Just go ahead and Exceed Summon your first Gem Knight Pearl. Then, Blue-Blooded Oni's effect, you can detach one from your Gem Knight Pearl. Again, no effect on this guy, so you don't mind that you don't lose, or that you lose the Exceed material. Detach one to special summon a zombie, so you'd go into your next Zombie Master. Now, this Zombie Master is treated as a new monster, so even though it's already used its effect this turn, it left the field and came back, so it's treated as a new effect. So you can use his effect, pitch a card, to summon a card. If it's your next Blue-Blooded Oni, then you can immediately go into your next Gem Knight Pearl. Or if you want to use all three of them, you can go into your Dice Sigma or your Shockmaster, but this gets a few more cards on the field. Then you can use your next Blue-Blooded Oni effect, detach one to summon one. So now your field has 2 Gem Knight Pearls, 1 Blue-Blooded Oni who's used its effect, 1 Zombie Master who has not used its effect, and, like I said before, icing on the cake, you could potentially have a Mizuki and something else in the graveyard. Right here you've got a free Gem Knight Pearl. If you banish your Mizuki, you can make a Dice Sigma, you can make a Shockmaster out of that. If you have something else in the hand, like another Blue-Blooded Oni, you can throw it down after discarding it with Zombie Master's effect. If you have, I don't know, Goblin Zombie, just pretty much anything else on the field, you can make another XYZ play happen here. So you can make your 3rd Gem Knight Pearl, you can go into your Shockmaster, your Violon Dice Sigma. It's a whole lot of really big things that happen there. But that essentially is what the loop is. You just get out your Zombie Master, put some Blue-Blooded Onis on the field, overlay things that have used their effects, use Blue-Blooded Oni to detach and bring them back, and then just go at it again. So that there has been my rank 4 zombie spam deck, I suppose, but it's just a really fun deck to play. I like playing zombies, and I've been doing it for a while. This deck might not be as competitive as something else like Elemental Dragons out there, but I enjoy playing it a whole lot. It's got some really fun decks out, or it's got some really fun wins out there before. So that has been Cryomancer with Team D Plus Gaming here. I'll leave it to Luso to sign out.
Well, thanks for watching, guys. I guess like and subscribe as always. Signing out.